Hey, this is Misery Loves Company, a weekly social reading series hosted by miserytourism.com. Every Friday, we welcome outsider and transgressive writers to come and share their work with us. And it's a Friday like any other, so let's get rolling here. First up tonight is Adam, and I will put the link in the chat.
Okay, good, because I need that. Uh-oh. Oh no.
Link doesn't work?
I'm clicking on it and it's just opening it in a Zoom tab.
Oh shit, I'm sorry. Yep, I see what I did. Don't
Oh, I
click
thought it
on
was
that link. That's the link.
Oh, okay.
That's the link to the Zoom meeting.
Really?
Sorry about that. The link I just put in
That's
there should be the right link.
that's fine. That was already more entertaining than what I'm gonna read. All right. I just have some poetry and I hope it's not too long, as I mentioned in the email, but I'll just get started. Can you hear me okay?
Perfectly.
Okay. I'm just trying to minimize this so that I can see it correctly. I'm sorry. All right. The first one is called Umberto. All them little chitlins munching sow belly, so what? No problem, Marcus. It's just that it's in spades, par excellence and the fucking like. You want to change? Spaghetti mister? You want to make it? You know I don't cook. Penny finds a soup bone and locks it in a box. It's her special box. Her ankle is thick as ham, and old Roger is eyeing it sexy, such as he does. Umberto rides in on a horse in an Atari t-shirt and shoots up the joint. Penny survives, but goes on to increase her volume at all kinds of hospital scenes. Umberto chills out and has his foreskin removed at age 27, hoping to die from the operation, the club, or at least to look more like his dad. However, his dad is long gone with street people. You have to act with rigor, his last words. Well, not exactly, says Umberto. I believe his last words were passing a roach clip. Believe. Give me back my bone. Fine, take it, from a children's story, but also from David Allen Greer and Jumanji when his squad is dragged into the trees. Do you love me? He's in it to win it. What? The farmer's market, potato sack race. Duh. Oh, Umberto is back. Kind of. He's warming his hands over a fire in a barrel. It's like totally a 90s LA scene. Oh, is it really? I don't know, to be honest. What's 2 plus 2? I don't know. Let me check my phone. Can you Google it? Sure. LOL, I saw Larson the other day. Yeah? Yeah. He walked past me on Lindale and he had a penis sharpied on his forehead that looked like half rubbed off, like he didn't have enough time to wash it off before his barista job. LOL, where's God when you need him? Mandy is a violent prick teaser, but she has her PhD and is an adjunct now. Doesn't matter a thing, mate. If you get 3 Long Islands into her, she's the same old Mandy. How do you know? Shows photograph on iPhone 6. Holy shit. It's March 14th. No, it's not. Okay. I put in a Freedom of Information Act request. That's FOIA, don't you know, for all the stolen valor of Her Excellency, Generalissimo. But all I got back was some brochures from Marin County and their goddamn fucking flea market where you can buy shit from Tiffany. My God, are they rich out there or what? But it's really a hellhole for the vast majority of people. Just ask them, dry as hell, and there's garbage everywhere and smoke in the fucking air, and all you can see is money and its absence. Are you going to the funeral? Whose? Oh shit, you didn't hear? No, tell me. Umberto. How? Nobody knows for sure, but they say some bodybuilder crushed him in a ditch. Holy shit. Yeah, holy shit is right. Like he was crushed by the other guy's weight or something. R.I.P. Umberto. Yeah, wait. I wonder what? I wonder if he left a will and whether he left his famous book on voyeurism to anyone. Is that all you can think about? Sorry. Shut the fuck up, Brian. Do you think I'm going to go to his fucking funeral? He was a fat fucking lying piece of shit, trick ass bitch, digital native cocksucking husk of a human being talking about joining the 28 Club relentlessly, and then he dies at 29. Fuck him. Jesus, man, relax. And anyway, it's the 27 Club. Whatever, man. I follow rivers, not roads. A cloudburst in the morning, rivulets of a natural spring in spring, moving water beneath an old hand, sunberries wet with whisper. Jesus Christ, is he going to keep reading on like this forever? Shush you, I'm trying to hear. Saddam Hussein's hanging, do you remember? Yeah, there were all those guys like quietly explaining things to him behind their black ski masks or whatever, and they were in like casual jackets. And I remember thinking the rope looked like really thick or not malleable. I don't know. He deserved what he got, that stinker. I used to know his sons' names. They used to report on them on Fox, like Uday is driving around in his Ferrari and stealing girls from the high school. Uday was the ace of hearts on the Iraqi most wanted playing cards. You know his bell was rung, and of course the cocksucker was bombed to hell by the 101st Airborne. Marijuana that was impure or of poor quality was once called salt and pepper, but no members of any entourage would feign to call it that now. That's so interesting, Sammy. Let's go roll in the hay and you can splunk on the small of my back. This is called a segue. The band Blink-182 released Adam's Song in 1999 with full knowledge that 1983 and 1984 were the peak years for popularity of the name Adam in the United States, leaving a flood of suicidal teenagers aged 15 and 16 upon the song's release. My God, they acted with such utter indifference and wanton disregard for the rights of others and the rights of man, and now the song is retired. Do not Google Greg Barnes. Thanks, band. Did he really type that and submit it to Don't Submit? I think so. Fuck Ozzy Osbourne. True, true. There was noise coming from the bed. I thought you put a putter to its head. I did. My neighbor got busted for child porn. Too many cooks spoil the broth. I'm gay. No, you're not. I know. I just like saying it. I need a new roof, but the insurance company denied the hail damage claim. 2 coins in a fountain. Don't hum, Scott. Sorry. Is this the DMV? No, this is the Sunshine Factory. Damn, K. Hey, do you like rides? No, they make me sick. Me too. Want to go camping? Not really. Well, what do you want to do? How about Netflix, K? White Sean is a pussy and is trying to offset his enormous feelings of inadequacy by walking around in his lit garage, smoking and ranting and lacing his old lady's protein shakes with antifreeze. How do you know? I'm just guessing. K. Should we text? About what? I don't know. Sure. Did you remember to turn the clock back? No, I'll do it. The oven too, or just a microwave? Both, please. This is splendid. What, this? Oh, I'm thinking about getting a landline again. I hate this thing. I like having an actual phone on the wall in the kitchen. Me too. I'll look into it. K, the file is closed, but I can reopen it to look for any potential post-conviction claims. You only have 2 years to bring a petition. K, what's your fee? 10 grand, click. So this is like the third day of sunshine. What's your point? Nothing. I'm just saying, have you heard from Bammer? No, but I think he works the swing shift at Target. Let's go get stoned and fuck with him. Fuck yeah, but let's stop by Cousins first for seafood subs. Oh, hell yes, brother. We can fuck with Eric. His girlfriend fucked Franklin in the back. You know what they say? No, what? I don't know. Sunny side up, something like that. Let's go. In New York City, there is a man with a printing press who does perfect bound and charges an arm and a leg. Stop talking in code. I'm not. It's the dude who tried to choke out all those department store shoppers in Crown Heights. Oh shit, I think you're right. Do they have Shamrock Shakes yet? No, it's January, you cocksucker. You have to wait till March. I'm thinking of running a 5K. Okay, who knows? Maybe Paul Bunyan was real. I don't know. Me either. Can you pop an Easy Mac in? Why is the time off? Didn't you change the clocks? Sorry. This one's called My Tramp Stamp is Fading, to be honest. Zing, zang, zoop, and creep. Alyssa left her blinds open and Charlie left his scent in the air. He is spending all his COVID money. There'll probably be an indictment. He's trying to get in every last kick sexually. At presently, he is sucking on an egg. Okay. Did you receive the notice of hearing? Tom, can I call you back? My leg just broke. Sure, but I have to be in court this afternoon. I know, Tom. I have to be there too. It's my fucking case. Right, right. See you soon. And Tom, yeah? Don't show up drunk this time. Do you like Aquafina or Dasani? I don't know. I used to play some game called Shaq on a T89 calculator long before I ever read Dickens. I hate my tramp stamp. I'm a guy. It's ridiculous. My farts don't smell even though I eat the cheapest food obtainable. I have a small salary, but just enough to pay hungry Kenneth to hammer my testicles once per mensum. He's a clunkhead, but does the job right. I need an oil change. Do you recommend Valvoline or Jiffy Lube? TVs are so clear these days. I liked it when you couldn't see every blemish, and it's weird how the camera kind of pans when it's on a certain setting. Jarrell is a sycophant and cocksucker, and I can't wait to see him fall on his face at the reading. Because you know he'll get gin drunk and probably forget he already read his poem. The Q stands for queer at the exact same fucking coffee house, but whatever. I am generous with my time, if not my purse. I'm not a Hollywood writer, and I do too much Dexedrine between flights. My Kimber 45 was seized and inventoried, and I'm crying about it. Phooey. I say, Ned was a cheap petty officer who got hooked on heaven dust, and that was that. He built chimneys for a living. Can you believe it? Personally, Kat, I think you need a break from work. Take a cruise or something. They're nice, and you can play cards on deck with strangers and croon and get wobbly. It's gorgeous, too. The men who wore derby hats are now the men who wear thongs, LOL. Oh, shit, I forgot I didn't pay my citation. My license is suspended, and I'll have to hang my head in front of Alex at the DMV. He's kind of hot. I wonder if he can pen me in special. He's so amazing at voice-to-text in person and the way he eats an orange. He is like some Russian aide-de-camp. I am petty and believable and so much in earnest that I want to be like a lifeguard or something Sandy like, you know. I have an ace up my sleeve, right? You know, he makes me think for that paperweight. Best gift I ever got. Hand to God. And oh yeah, the Bushmills, just drank 8 fingers of it. Pet, my tramp stamp is fading. I should get some work done on shading, to be honest. There is not enough time in a single life. It's not fair that we have to die. It's just not fair. I don't want to die. I want to live forever. iPhone 13 or iPhone 13 Pro? Well, obviously. Want to trade? Huh? Trade, spider for spider. I don't get it. You never will. Let's scissor sit at least. You can call me later. Are we still grilling burgers? No, salmon skewers. Okay. Cotton lies lonely and vagabonding again. As I have said and the like, he is out of cereal, needs fiber, wants love and answers. He looks to the sky. This is all I can say about him right now. It hurts. The pain is too much. I love you, Cotton, your vision, everything. Frenchie read from the Psalms during his drag queen story hour in Massachusetts. He said, "My eyes grow weak with the sorrows of young wanderer," and was hastily removed from his board seat, which was in fact a settee of sorts, upon which he devoured his nuggets with ranch. He now lives inside a Hewlett Packard box out on Longshore and puts on a one-man play called Cocksucker Shoes to sell out crowds of possum and hideous lunch ladies in hairnets and leather wingtips who collect old braces thrown out by the orthodontist office and melt them down into skull chromies for sale in the yard to decked out wiggers who flash GD gang signs in blue ink on JanSport backpacks, etc. Why? It's a good question. I don't fault your pursuit of knowledge, but to ask why is to ask why. Good point. But they don't call them monkey bars anymore, and it's not a jungle gym. Bullshit, I'll call it what I want. You do you. What's up, Dad of the Year? Me? Yeah, you, with the Nalgene bottle filled with vodka at the park. How old are the kiddos? God only knows. Nice tattoo, by the way. This one's called Observations. A man can be full of honey and yet angry without explication. Merci beaucoup, he might say, but with daggers for eyes. Life is murky. It was New Year's Eve, 2011, and my old friend, the secular Jew and self-taught gemologist, waltzed into the party and exclaimed to the entire room with hands still orange from a bag of Doritos, "Sorry I'm late, I was titty fucking my wife." So you write dialogue without using quotation marks? That's correct. Big deal. Have you ever sucked on a dog's lipstick? Tim is drawing with crayons. Marcy is writing cursive and pencil. They are both 39-year-olds and institutionalized. Tim is good at math. Marcy can sing. Everyone has their thing. 3 + 4 = 7. 7 + 1 = 8. But why was 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9. I don't get it. Think about it. Babe, I'm busy. Can you grab another 36-pack of Coors? Okay. Barb chartered a yacht near Capri with a bunch of fellow doctors, a ladies' trip. She went down the slide too fast and deep in rosé all day, yelled to the bosun, "Help, I think my vagina fell out." Paper airplanes are fun. Paper mache death masks are not, but each has its purpose. It's still the case that I want to live forever, and I operate on the assumption that I will. Where are you, Cotton? I'm begging you. This one's called Percy's Mistrial. Percy had too much chicken noodle soup for the soul, or so he said. Truth was, it was a bottle of Straga, and now he thinks he is an actor. But first, he has to beat his case. He is charged with kidnapping, felony assault, terroristic threats, obstructing legal process with force, and fleeing in a motor vehicle. So he's in trial, and a juror dies in a car accident at the close of the case. And the judge asks if he'll waive a 12-person jury and agree to be tried by 11. And his lawyer, Tom, takes him aside in the hall to discuss. Percy, what the fuck, man? I ain't trying to, Tom. Just wait. Hold on a minute. We put in a good case. I like this jury. Percy, fuck that. Tom, how many disciples did Christ have? Percy, I think 12. Tom, okay, we'll go with that. Juror number 8 makes some caustic remark about seeing everyone on March 40th. This one's called The Irish Goodbye. The jury instruction guides are no guide. I'd rather smoke a tenderloin and barrel about the room in whiskey. Philip teed off on me and my heart is broke. He had $2 over his eyes during sleep. He boxes shadows in the daytime. He was in the rodeo until the day he lost his mind. It wasn't slow, but instant. He's still beautiful as a calf. There was a noise upstairs where the old woman lives alone. It was just some kind of thud. Should we call the cops? No, she's Scandinavian. The Bible is beautiful and so are you. Drive-in movies are ace deuce 3. You're pretty. Can we neck? Only if you pin me. Okay. My neighbor is a spy. I don't mean like that. I just mean he's hanging around outside the windows a lot, beneath the eaves. I see. An eavesdropper? No, a pervert. You can be both, you know. I suppose. I'm pretty sure he's getting his rocks off out there. Do you mind? Not really. He's friendly. The tissue is terrific. No residue. Yeah, and they're BOGO. Where? Walgreens? Cool. Shauna has a new Kia, but it was stolen. We didn't even get to see it. So it goes. Mavis can't see the faults in anyone. She even thinks Dustin is some kind of diamond cracker and artist. Who's Mavis? I don't think I know her. She's that waitress from Applebee's whose mom was a judge and committed suicide after some kind of weird corruption thing. Oh yeah, Mavis. I only knew her as Ken. She's pretty mendacious now. Oh, you and your words. Colin leaves parties in stealth. He's there, then he's not. His speech isn't pretty, but his calf muscles are off the cob. He says he's lucky because he makes his coffee by Tuesday and doesn't work the rest of the week. Oh yeah, he's a drug dealer, I forgot. Let's call him, I'm out. We can't, he only sells on Sundays because he's on probation. We should go shooting. Where, the range? No, your backyard's in the city like last time, LOL. The shot spotters picked it up. It's cool to see yourself on the shot spotter digital map. It's like being published. Tom is the lawyer with the skull chromie around his neck. He studied for the bar with Kay Swiss Esquire, and they turned tricks out of Kay's 92 Buick. Tom is passed out and gets splashed by Kay. A wake-up call before the arraignment calendar. Orange Julius and brandy, dig? Tom walks in and blurts out, Tom, on behalf of the defendant, we ask the court to enter not guilty pleas and set the matter on for a pretrial on, but Tom vomits all over counsel table, is PBT'd and held in contempt for the umpteenth time. This one's called Your Text. There is a bargain to be struck somewhere between the devil and the deep blue sea. Just ask John down at the brass rail on 5th and Hennepin. He's there if I'm there, and I'm there if you're there, and you're there if you're here. And holding these words to your breast, I'm in love and trying to sway you over 1,000 pages. And Schnapps cat, look at it like it's not under a microscope, but yet clear and there and down. Pat, partner. If I get paid, you get paid, and we'll hit Sandy's in my 92 Buick. It's royal blue, and I'm happy you asked. You know, it's like one of those moments where you feel it. I mean, you really feel like that rush you had when you held hands as a teenager. You can taste the memory. Boom. It's like starlight, abyss, drunk, cocksuck, adult decay, grave. I don't want to die. I'm typing. I'm alive. Not dead. I'm alive. This is art. I promise. It comes from a good place. I'm not a freak. I'm your best friend and act as if. There are moments we have and that we have had and could have. Trust me. It's a game of chance. In time. What's your sign? Mine's unknowable due to cosmic birth defect. I'm writing in my notes app, I love you. I said that already, but why do you think of dying in orgasm at this moment? My lips are sealed. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm going crazy from screens and people aren't real, but I'm in full possession of my faculties, and the seafood sub tastes the same as ever. And I can still do algebra and walk and chew gum at the same time, and I'm still advancing, and yet I'm digging a nice little dugout in the earth to crawl into singly and exclusively. I believe in maximizing the rights for all and not ripping too much, but still being a steward. I don't know. I'm a good person and a pseudo chef. I have tinnitus, which I bring up to everyone if it's loud, and brag about the time I shot a hole in the floor next to my bed in 2013. Is that real or not? Just ask. But I'm a closed book. I kid. Who are you? Oh yeah, we're friends because you're reading me and maybe posting. So it's cool. We're on the level. Though I did once work on the 13th floor and haven't gotten over it. I'm submitting, by the way. Are you? Oh yeah, you have it up and do tours with the band now. What's your new email? I'm sorry, I melted down over the Brussels sprouts. It's esoteric and I don't want it in print. We need a new carpet runner for the upstairs if we ever want to sell. I love that fight with the Gore Vidal. You know the one. I'll talk to you later. I'm dying by iPhone 7. This is the last one. It's called Low Belly Smack Cringe. Death threats ain't shit, cat. I'll publish anything. Test me. I drank tequila with Ovaltine from a Yeti and threw an old woman downstairs. I don't give a fuck. Do you know where I can get my skates sharpened? They're dull, and I want to impress Melanie. She's alive. You know, she's a trick, but trying to get out. Meet me at the pool hall. I have a bag of chromies that I scored at the truck stop. Have you heard the new Coldplay? It's not bad. I want to fit in. You should yell billiards in a crowded theater. No one will know what the word means, except there is barely anyone in theaters these days. Is that a Louis Vuitton? My loneliness is ideological and in the realm of ideas and is so much harder than physical solitude. I miss the days of Tara Reid, to be honest. The low belly jeans and smack freaks glued to the real world before in real life. There are so many routines, and I'm sorry I can't cook, but I could raise 4 glorious children if you let me. That's Smythe, not Smith, dear. Then fast forward 30 years to the dull, vacant eyes of the sex icon of reality TV. She is paired with a Bravo newbie who does shots with Andy, and he's sick. His voice is diff. He has a kid. He's the same old Andy, but wrinkled and petty. I remember this thing by Capote where he said, that's not writing, that's typing. It stands out and the bus is late, but then on time because your watch stopped. I need to get me a job. I'm not married, but I kind of am. What's Henry's and Joey's sitch? And have you heard from Savannah yet? She hasn't T9 texted and it's late. My given name is literally hypodermic, and you'll agree that is far worse than Sue. I killed a man and I am admitting to it before this audience. Oh shit, it's almost Ash Wednesday and I'm the number 6 draft pick and just found out Sheena has herpes, so I probably do too. Now that I think about it, she did mention that Satan is within reach. It kind of reminds me of my ex who hired a hitman, or so she thought. He was a federal agent and she's in prison and I got the kids and I'm sad and sort of scared. We moved out of state into my mom's, and now Sarah, my oldest, is 15 and went to the prom with a 22-year-old drug addict and I'm losing control. I wish their mom was here, but then I'd probably be dead or drowning in happiness, not flatlining and sending you this. It's sad. That's the last thing you'll ever read from me is sent from my iPhone. That's it.
I wonder what percentage of hitmen are federal agents. It has to be like 95%, right? But
yeah, it's 95 to 100 for sure.
But anyway, Adam, as usual, I love this shit. And as usual, like, you have so many great fucking characters here. You have so many great lines and turns of phrase. But the two bits that really got me this time around were the Saddam Hussein stanza and the Adams song, Blanket 182 one. I don't know if I'm just feeling nostalgic tonight, but those two in particular, like, grabbed me. the thing I loved about the Blink 182 one is the like rumination, like on the idea that maybe this was an intentional sadistic act, right? Like that there was this intentional sadistic desire to have this kid be as relatable as possible to the audience, even down to his name, and and to like have a disproportionate number of kids like hear this song and become suicidal as a result. That that's fantastic, and I know everything about the Saddam Hussein paragraph, stanza rather, is just phenomenal. I don't know, but this is wall to wall good shit, Adam, and so many great lines. I put a bunch of them in the chat while we were going, but yeah,
Okay.
thank
Well,
you, man.
thanks a lot for letting me read. Thank you for the kind words.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
for reading.
the
As
Blink
usual.
180. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, Rudy.
The Blink 182 part gives credence to my fan theory that Blink 182 are actually just the Beach Boys with a time machine, pretty much.
Wait, what? I need more information about this
So
theory.
I don't know. I mean, they're basically the Beach Boys, right? I mean, that's I think everybody here can agree that Blink 182 is basically the Beach Boys, right? They're the Beach Boys for the 90s, right? I mean, right?
Um,
I don't know about that.
Like,
Never mind.
Who? Who?
you know what? I don't like.
I won't belabor it, but yeah.
You know what? I'm willing to agree with you because I don't really like the Beach Boys. I think like a music head would be like,
William,
well, the
shut
Beach Boys
up.
did so much to revolutionize music and shit like that. But I just like I don't
Their
know.
only misstep in music was saying that California girls are better than Midwestern girls.
I mean, I wish they all could be California girls, right?
I wish they could all be fucking Midwestern girls who weren't fucking retarded.
But no, out of that was fucking amazing. Like your punchlines are so like fucking just gorgeous. Like fucking, the Saddam one or like the part with his sons and shit was really good too. Like all his sons were, yeah. God, I love that. I love every part of that, and it's just so like the Shot Spotter one too. William
Oh
put it in the
yeah,
thing.
yes. The
It's
fucking
like
I
being
put that in the
published.
chat, but the Shot Spotter, it's like being published thing. It was
That is
just
so
sublime.
good. Fuck.
well, it is because there's an interactive map in the city, and if you can look where the gunshots went off,
Yeah.
somebody
Right?
can flip it down and be like, "Hey, that's me."
Yeah, it's a legacy, right?
Yeah, all right. It's like seeing yourself on TV or like on seeing yourself on the Jumbotron at fucking
Yep.
sports.
Oh shit. All right. Thank you, Adam. And don't mute your mic. And you know what? While you were reading, I didn't get the Adam song connection. And
Oh yeah, right.
but anyway, Rudy, don't mute your mic. You're up.
Let me make the post here. All right, so this is a superhero tale. How's my mic sound? I sound all right. I think I was fucking around with it just a second ago.
Sounds good.
Cool. All right, so this one's called Noble Bright, and this one uses some words I'm not allowed to use. They threw poor Jenny Ito into the nondescript black police van at the Mutant Lives Matter protests in downtown Portland. She was with several people who were anything but nondescript or black. Should have worn my anti-surveillance mask, said Jeff, the anti-racist, anti-civ, anti-fascist, whose arms were covered in bespoke anti-authority tattoos. The pig drones were fucking you bick out there. Yeah, Jenny said, tapping her foot nervously. Yeah. Jenny was concentrating, trying to get in the zone enough to use her powers of light manipulation to conjure a bunch of flashes that would, in her head canon, blind the cops driving the van so that she and the rest of the detainees could escape. But she was having trouble unpacking the full ethical scope of that action, and her power's weakness and strength was that it only activated when she could justify it as an unambiguous social good. What if the van were to careen off the road and hit an old woman? What if it went over a cliff and killed all the young, energized, powered people inside, setting back several grassroots movements in the process? What if one of the van's occupants was epileptic? It took her 20 or 30 minutes to figure out the answer to the last question and rationalize the others in ways that made her feel okay. But just as she was preparing to shout, looking at me for the next 3 to 4 seconds may potentially trigger seizures for people with photosensitive epilepsy, the van hit a really big bump that derailed her train of brain chemicals. Rest in power to the victims in Norfolk Southern. The rest of the ride to the police station was a blur for Jenny. She tried to refocus while the loose affiliation of communists, anarcho-primitivists, and vigilantes exchanged hot words with two of Portland's worstest, a pair of wisecracking bootlickers who were trying to get a rise out of the shackled youths. Why do you call it Mutant Lives Matter for? You think you're in some MCU shit? Said the pig driving. Yeah, bitch, my life a movie, a girl with messy blonde hair blurted out from behind blue eyes that shimmered like Emma Frost. The thunderous combo of finger snapping and cheers that followed made Jenny's anxiety jump. And fucking yikes, did that white girl just take on black intonation while appropriating an AAV meme? And double yikes, Jenny admonished herself. Did I just assume that girl identified as white because of her hair and eye color? Ugh, Jenny thought. Out of the 13 people arraigned before Judge Allison Fear in connection with the MLM protest on May 4th, 12 of them got off with community service. Poor Miss Ito was not one of those 12. A previous criminal tampering charge was used against her in court. In her senior year of high school, Jenny had used her powers to dazzle a proctor while several of her peers stole boxes of SAT exams. They later burned the boxes and smeared themselves in the ashes to protest the racist nature of standardized testing. Jenny was young and stupid and sick and tired and tried as an adult. The year of probation she got made college kind of awkward. It was all over the news. Her only regret was that she basically performed blackface. She was sentenced to 1 month of hard time in the Frank Boyd Wrong Memorial Aquatic Correctional Facility for Supernatural Criminals. Judge Fear, a staunch prison abolitionist known for her activist rulings, said in her final remarks, "Young lady, I should hope that this judgment serves as a speed warning for your out-of-control life." Ha! That last part was ironic because Frank Wrong Prison, a maximum security facility, was built as part of the Slow Down Act. Slow Down was an experimental prison reform initiative pushed through by a reddening Congress. It decreed that all power users be remanded to prisons that use DOCS patented time suspension fields to slow their movements and abilities. This was supposedly to ensure the safety of non-powered corrections officers who were not affected by the field's chronomanipulative sorcery. Like many things, the Slow Down Act was predicated on a justice system that works fairly and logically. In an SDA prison, the longer a prisoner is sentenced, the more time is slowed down for them. Makes sense, right? Crimes like first-degree murder get 25 years or more. Someone who happens to be a super murderer, an apex predator among regular non-irradiated scofflaws, probably wields a power that lets them kill really efficiently. And if that power activates in slow motion, John Woo style, COs can get a handle on them before they can use it to the fullest extent. The American judicial system is pretty good at fitting sentences so that they match crimes. This is not a joke because crime is not a joke. And it's not like you have unfair statutes or prejudice or judicial activism that fucks up the ability of the justice system to do its job, right? Right? As soon as Jenny got to Frank Wrong, the moment she put on the orange jumpsuit and prison Crocs, she was the shortest person there. Not only in the physical sense, Jenny at 4'11 was pretty diminutive already, even when not seen as part of a rogues gallery of people who would enhance their physical prowess using powers, but also in the length of her sentence. Fucking wasteful, was what the warden said as he stood behind glass observing Jenny's intake. Literally, this is fucking retarded. It was a shocking feeling for Jenny as she was clapped in irons. The I'm in trouble part wasn't the half of it. Truth be told, it was mostly the way the time field made her feel physically and mentally. Being stuck in tar isn't a great way of putting it. Jenny didn't like putting it that way, even to herself, because it didn't feel accurate and also seemed like it was unfairly stealing from and making racist assertions about African American folk stories like Brer Rabbit. It was more like slowing down the frame rate in a video game, not intentionally like when used as part of a camera effect, but like when the game bogs due to poor hardware. Like normal, her brain issued commands and her body obeyed, but now it seemed like the muscles were merely following through. She became keenly aware of their passiveness, their lack of agency, the way they were just going through the motions, literally defined by brainwaves that painted a vague picture of some promised outcome. Her intrusive thoughts subsided almost immediately. They were slowed too, maybe even more than her physical actions. Many times she found that she could halt them outright because she saw the memories and associations that they were attached to with her mind's eye and could dismiss them before they made contact with her feelings. But on her first few days in, Jenny became conscious of how much slower everyone else around her was. Frozen wasn't exactly the word. Glacial was maybe closer, maybe geologic. Yeah, that was it. All activities, meals, showers, the yard, everything seemed like the Paleozoic turning into the Mesozoic. She would be standing somewhere for millennia while the people around her, statues, just stood and let the environment beat them, erode them. In the mess, somebody threw a tray. Jenny saw the French yield to Napoleon, then to the Vicky in the time space before a guard caught it and placed it back onto the table. The first time the guards put hands on Jenny was to shove her to the front of the chow line. It was filled with statue-like men who wore expressions that changed like Mount Rushmore. She perceived a guard saying something racist to her at half speed. Oh, he said, forever. By the next day, when the same guard said something sexist, it was exponentially more terse. This continued as the days, eons, or whatever wore on. By what we would perceive as day 8 of Jenny Ito's struggle, she was talking to, rather at, her cellmate Tyrone, a muscle-bound carjacker and rapist, and noticing the subtle iterative shifts in body language as each of her words was processed by his temporal lobe. A single thought zoomed past all of its intrusive brethren to the finish line of her mind. This is inhuman. Its competition was shit like, I'm locked in a cell with a 250-pound black dude that can probably hold me down with one hand. Don't be racist. And I don't want to pee here. Don't be racist. And these blankets are rough. 100 thread count. These synapse sprinters didn't even place in Jenny's internal marathon. Disqualified. Jenny increasingly found that her sense of focus was reaching Buddhist ascetic heights. And that isn't supposed to be exotification. I know Jenny is Asian, but seriously, I'm not trying to make any racial associations here. It's literally just supposed to be setting up the next part where she uses her powers, which require immense focus and a lack of cognitive dissonance. She listened to the waterfall flowing through the common area. She listened to the sound of time sands grinding against the grain of human experience. She mostly listened to the guards saying slurs. By halftime, 15 days locked, Jenny was making the halogen light in the catwalk outside her cell oppressively bright in the daytime and dim at night. She kept hearing the guards on the cell block complaining about it, which is to say she heard them saying fucking goop more frequently and more audibly than usual. How short is she? She heard a male voice whisper as the daily tray was coming through the slit. Somewhere between young Goku and Odd Job, said a female one. No, seriously, the male voice said. Worry. Calm. On day 28, Jenny was in the showers. All the male guards were watching her, and yeah, okay, I like female prisoner 701 Scorpion a lot too, but this isn't some weird sexual fetish shit. There were female guards there as well, and also the warden was watching from behind the computer screen. Gendo Akari looking ass nigga. Uncharacteristically, Jenny started to laugh. Full on witch cackling, blood chilling. Porcelain Lysandra in a garden of frozen thralls. In no time at all, the lights in the corridor began to go down one by one. That scene in Unreal were the first Scourge attacks. Initially, there was confusion. duh. But as the guards started getting hyped and getting scared and probably getting chastised by fucking Warden Gindo, who's yelling shit into their comms, they formed a line to do an extraction. The first guys that went in slipped like idiots and immediately slid into a bunch of prisoners, blowing them over like pins. By that point, Jenny's laughter was on some Quaidan sound effect shit. Startling, piercing. As the riot squad approached, the lights suddenly started strobing, and that really pissed them off. These big Kevlar clad dudes, and women too, shout out to Brooks and Dunn, started swinging for flesh, and sometimes they hit Jenny, and sometimes they hit each other. All of this was captured by the security cameras as weird stop motion photography due to the lights flickering, creating a family unfriendly version of Chicken Run for DOCS auditors to Vidi. Jenny laughed all the way to the prison infirmary. She laughed right in Warden Gindo's face. He spit in hers. She laughed in the stuffy dark of Ad Seg while she was alone with her thoughts and bloody noses. She only stopped laughing at her hearing, which happened on day 30, the day she was supposed to get out, when another gavelmancer, Judge Fright, yeah, I know, looked her in the eye sternly before extending her prison stay another month. He said, in the realest, crispest cadence that Jenny Ito had experienced for ages, and I quote, "You're a dim one, aren't you?"
Man. As usual, this was very good, very funny stuff. I love and as usual, like the conceptual stuff is really on point here. I love the world that you've created and how the mechanics work and how like you get to watch the mechanics be exploited as it goes on. I also, speaking of mechanics being exploited, I also love all the like side references to video games and other pop culture shit, which is typical of your work, but I think a lot of it was very on point here. Just really good stuff. And yeah, and you know what? I love the fucking names too. Because it's a superhero universe, right? So they have to have they have to have like the stupid names that are like indicative of their personalities and shit. So it's all I don't know, I love it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. Colton's up next. Oops, if I can. Here we go.
All right. Shit. Well, I was gonna use my computer to read, but the Wi-Fi here sucks. So I sent you that link, right?
Yep, I just put it in the chat. Hopefully it's not the Zoom link again, but I think I got it right this time.
That was funny. I like that. I thought you were trolling Adam. Well done.
I just fucked up. If I was going to do that to troll, I wouldn't do it to Adam.
William trolls me on TikTok.
Fuck me. That should be that funny. Oh god. Yeah, good reading so far, everybody. Shit, I need to fucking bring my A game. This piece, I don't know. I've had fun writing it. It's just, I don't know. I told my friends that this is like a nice piece. It's like not fucked up that I've read. So, yeah, just go ahead and get into it. Piece is called "I Don't Think I Want to Be Me Anymore." Baptized but agnostic, dependent on trauma bonds. Entering the scene is the Beale Street prom king, coincidentally married to the Delta queen. Let me see that smile, banana crocodile. Poplar East Parkway kid selling $1 bottles of Gatorade. Chasing bioluminescent scorpions around an unlit Texas-sized living room. Don't we all love ultraviolet laser tag? Naked woman's body lit aflame. Her nipples are clamped and connected via wires to two electric guitars playing Freebird. Her knees buckle for a second under the intense frisson. The day is young, but so is the corpse that lies within you. Peaceful protester demanding an LSD tent be set up at the upcoming book fair. Little kid on a hiking journey carries coffee beans and cassia bark in his pocket for good luck. Daughter and father screaming match over the phone. She tells him to sober up and leave her alone. Watch this, dickface. 8-ball, corner pocket. Quick Check Baklava, Gorgar Machine, Walking to Garibaldi's for Toasted Ravioli, Street Fighter 2, and The Shadow, LED score display, Say No to Drugs, AIDS is real, Protect yourself, Smacking tempered glass so hard your friend says, "Whoa, man, take it easy, yellow card." My good friend told me this story where he was working in the office of a motorcycle shop back in the 70s. And one day he gets a call in the office, and the other person on the line says he's Evel Knievel. And my friend says, "Yeah, okay, buddy, nice try." And the guy on the phone replies, "Hey, man, this is actually Robert Knievel, and I need to speak to your boss." And just as my friend hangs up on the guy, his boss comes up to his desk and she asks, "Hey, has Mr. Knievel called yet?" Pointed obscenities in the proximity chat, heaving out words that mean nothing, desperate for the unconscious child, the show and tell spirit that is in awe of everything. Black belt Elvis Presley bows to his sensei. Project Pat spits through time and space. Nothing but net for old white chocolate. One time when I was little, my dad told me to touch a red hot stovetop with my bare hand, and so I did, and of course, I burnt my fingers and immediately started crying. A few minutes later, after consoling me, my mother asked my dad why he told me to touch the sizzling stove grate. My dad replied that he didn't mean anything by it. He just didn't think that I'd actually do it. Being held down while your friends put makeup on your face, and then the kids at school ask why you're so skinny and why your hands are so soft and why your wrists are so tiny, and you look at yourself with lipstick on and you have dreams where strips of skin on your arms and legs start to fall off and your muscles shrink to nothing, and slowly you develop this fear that your body is going to shrivel up from the inside. Broken bits of bottle and mulch, the smell of piss, traffic cones, liquor store bombed by drones. Though they may scold my swagger, can't nothing break this cracker. When I was in high school, I would set my laptop on my lap when I took notes in class. And one day the teacher came up to me and gave me a lap pillow to set my computer on. And my friends were laughing because they thought it was weird. But her reasoning for this was that apparently letting the laptop sit directly on my lap for long periods of time was either going to kill my sperm count or give me testicular cancer. And after hearing this explanation, I did think it was odd that my balls were getting this much attention from my history teacher. Guys will think of other people more than women. And I mean, I'm not surprised you think of other women while having sex with your partners. You're probably just projecting onto the person you're having sex with. I mean, honestly, I don't think you have a very healthy relationship with sex. And it's not your fault. I see it in plenty of guys around your age. I've started to form my own thoughts on the correlation between men who are addicted to sex, porn, or even going out to strip clubs and the way they perform during sex. And you can doubt me if you want, but I've seen a thing or two. I'm almost 40 years old. I've been a stripper in almost 15 states, a financial dominatrix for almost a decade, and I've been the top on-call escort in and around the Nashville area. The years weren't always great, though. One summer, I was a suburban dungeon master for people needing distinct bodily pleasure, and this one dude came into my lair alone, and he asked me if it would be okay if he masturbated while I yelled mean things at him. And I said yes, and I just screamed horrible things that made him cry while he ejaculated on himself. Just the way it all happened, it was like he deserved it or something. And I didn't know if I was helping a person deal with their demons or giving power to the rush of pleasure. Because, like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with pain, but you don't have to hold on to that pain all the time. And you don't need to chase that pain either, if that makes sense. Ash on the floor, suck like a whore, craving fire and destruction. All I can hear is the sound of your fear, of being strangled in an alley, being covered in oil and forced into a furnace, receiving blindfolded shock therapy, being sentenced to the death penalty. We've destroyed everything. We've conquered the world of the conceptual, full homosexual. The 901 sports broadcaster announces, "That's it, ladies and gentlemen. This game is over. Hammer, nail, coffin. The only thing left for me is waiting for the surprise in the end credit scene. I know you had a bad day, so here, let's go drive over the Memphis, Arkansas bridge. We'll drive into West Memphis so that you can mentally dump all of your problems there. Just think about all the shit in your head that you don't need anymore and toss it out the window. Then, after that, we'll turn around and drive back to Memphis so you can report so you can reboot and start again fresh. Sound good? And that's it.
Man, that oh sorry. Excuse me. Man, that rocked as usual. And yes, this is like, as you said at the top, it's a little more subdued in terms of like the graphicness of its content, right? But I actually
Right.
like that because it gives me a chance to like appreciate the rest of your writing with that element removed. And what I really dug here was, without the same kind of visceral ugliness, you can really see your knack for creating like local character and atmosphere and this sense of place, like this sense of occupying a very certain kind of the South, right? And also like your incredible knack for writing dialogue that actually sounds like the way human beings speak. Wow, hanging that dialogue within the larger context of these sort of like complex prose poems. You know, it's not just that you write really like realistic sounding dialogue, it's that you insert that realistic dialogue into a very surreal framework in a way that I think nobody else really does. And so I appreciate that. And yeah, it's good shit, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I just, I enjoy just little, like, I don't know, like journal style, I guess. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. I appreciate you and Rudy. Thanks to everybody else here. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't
thank
know.
you for reading, man.
Yeah.
And
Thank you all.
and I mean the fact that you don't have a word for what you write, and I don't really like prose poem was is kind of it's in the proximity, but not really right. But the fact that there isn't a word like speaks to the ingenuity and creativity of the kind of writing you're doing, I think. So yeah, thank you, man. And
I fucking tried.
and I almost said Rudy's up next, but Rudy just read. Keith is up next, and there's nobody on the docket after Keith. So if anyone wants to read after Keith, just put something in the chat, and yeah. And if not, we'll just, we'll end the reading early, which is also fine. Okay, Keith, it's all yours.
Thanks, William. So I was going to read a story about Chinatown, but I've decided to do something a little different. Since this is a small group, I need to get this story out of the way, and I'll just do it. All right, introduction. Tonight, I'm taking yet another risk with my writing. The story I'm going to read is an absolute mess. It's based on the narrator's experience as told to me, maybe. It's real, authentic, and for the most part, intentionally unedited. If you've never had this experience before, well, now you will know. This story blazes the trail, but a word of caution: proceed at your own risk. Flying with Delta keeps you grounded. March 22nd, 2023. Note, timestamps may be important. 10:45 a.m. Damn it, he's less than 15 minutes into his trip and he's already had an accident. There's no way that the accident was a result of his decision. Not this soon. The trip had barely even started. He had eaten his sweet and salty nut bar to get some good fats in his stomach, and he was already writing his story in his head. He was going on this trip to see if he could accomplish two things. First, he wanted to relax, to slow his world down, if only for the short term, however long that may be. Second, he wanted to see if his creativity box opened up, and if it did, what would he create? But all of that, along with some other thoughts that he knows that he will lose, are going by the wayside. He must deal with the accident, the muted pastel colors catching his eye everywhere he looks. 11:05 a.m. The scene of the accident is clean. Everything is back in order for the time being. 11:10 a.m. He's writing on his desktop, spilling his story onto the page. He thinks that he feels it working. He'll just keep writing. Today would be the first day that he ever did the trip on a full tank and from beginning to end. He had previously done the trip by breaking it into 2 equal parts on 2 different days, but today would be stretch day, a through paddle, like he and a friend did with 300 miles of the St. Johns River in solo sea kayaks, a through paddle expedition, though it took 10 days. But today would be all 300 miles in less than half a day, he hoped. Today's trip, though, would be like the first time he went across the St. Johns River alone in his kayak. It was a 3-mile open water crossing. His fellow kayaking friends had been afraid to attempt it, but he wasn't like his kayaking friends. With some things he liked to push the envelope, to feel the adrenaline rush, the dopamine hits, the satisfaction of accomplishment, the learnings from his mistakes. When he felt that he had built his experience level up and he had the motivation and drive, he and his friends set out to accomplish the river paddle. It was something that had not been accomplished in the modern era, and the real benefit from succeeding was the inspiration that it had given to others to try doing it. It increased environmental awareness of a precious resource, and maybe he had made a difference in the world. Briefly, he wonders if anyone might be inspired by his words. When he reads or hears other writers' works, he finds inspiration, motivation, and enjoyment. He envies the creativity of other writers, and he hopes that somewhere inside of himself there may be a hidden nugget. But that's not all of the motivation for today's trip. One motivation is selfish, and if it succeeds, he'll be faced with a bigger challenge. He may be tempted to take more trips with different routes and lengths. He's not sure if he can handle that. He knows himself too well. He takes a break from his journaling to reread what he has written to this point. So he's got a mess in the St. Johns River paragraphs. He goes back to the message of the paragraphs. He wanted to convey the message that first, he wasn't a quitter or a fraidy cat, and second, that with enough practice and doing some things in pieces, that experience and confidence can be built up. Well, he feels woozy and is losing his concentration. This may be like the second leg of the last trip that he did a couple of weeks ago. Anyways, he's feeling like he's being pulled towards the recliner with some Freebird playing in his ears and the rest of his 420 playlist queued up. So he's going to take a break. 11:25 a.m. 11:31 a.m. He didn't take a break like he said he was. Enter the unreliable narrator. He reviews those river paragraphs and knows what he needs to do. He'll clean that up later, maybe. Now he's taking that break. He reclines. 11:54 a.m. Up from the recliner. Layla's kicking in. Whole lot of love and Stairway to Heaven have already played. Hungry, needs something salty, something fat. Maybe heat up some frozen cod fillets and make a sandwich. Have some chips and a sour pickle. This morning he bought those pickles just for his trip, though he didn't know that then. Surreal, weird. The pace of Layla has slowed. It's soft and relaxing. He gets an erotic thought in his head and checks the time length of the song. Yep, just what he thought. 7 minutes, 4 seconds. Flashbacks. 12:04 p.m. Hello? Hello? Is there anybody in there? Just the basic facts. Can you show me where it hurts? There is no pain. It is receding. Time to head to the kitchen for lunch. Keep the tunes coming in my ears. I've become comfortably numb. Bye for now. 12:54 p.m. It's only been 50 minutes. He can't believe that. Can't remember. Relaxed. Deeper breaths. At his desktop. Eyes closed. He writes like that a lot. Where was he going? He tasted the vanilla wafer from a few minutes ago and he forgot what he was typing about. Still looking down, eyes closed, neck relaxing, hum of the CPU. Forgot where the U was on the keyboard. 12:59 p.m. Eyes open, straight away. Watch the letters form. Confused, thirsty, no alcohol. Remember? Need to get my body moving with my head. That's better. Where's the glass of water? Got it. This story isn't in first person. Get back to third. 3:18 p.m. Dazed and confused. That's what the D in daze stands for. And for the atlas that's leading his trip. That makes no sense. The D also stands for the alphabetic character that precedes the end of his number of stops he'll take on his trip. That makes no sense either. That's just stupid. Screw it. What was he thinking about? Cravings. Yes, cravings. He can't get enough sweets. Sugar here, sugar there, sugar everywhere. OMG. He's messed up. Geez. F dash 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 it. 3:23 p.m. OMG. It's only been 5 minutes since the bank's autocorrect of minutes last entry. Let's move on. Woozy. Once again. Discombobulated. Only think of that word in this state. Wrote about sweets, check. D capitalized, or it's not even used as a letter in this context, is it? Yes, it is. But it's not the letter concatenated to the number, is it? Is concatenated even a word? Just say join. F dash 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 it. You know, too many F dash 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 it's. Jesus, made up name, warned you about using those words in stories. What was he writing about? More forgetfulness and thirst. So thirsty. Where's that water? Okay, focus. We're writing about relaxation and creativity. Well, how's that going? He guesses that relaxation happens in between the manic, is that the word, episodes? Don't do it. Don't go to Wiki and start down the manic rabbit hole. Doesn't matter. Move on. Everyone's waiting and wondering. Delusions of grandeur and importance. He's entrenched over halfway through the trip. Educated guess, question mark. 3:33 p.m. Still cognizant and aware of recording the time in bold in his story. Whatever. Now he's morphing into a smart aleck and the dialogue's playing out in his brain. Got some water. Thinking about the conversation he had with his neighbor a while ago. He checks his story timetable, and the conversation was between 12:59 p.m. and 3:18 p.m. He can't remember all of what he said. Why was he even outside? The mail? Oh, took the garbage out. That was it. And the neighbor called to him as he was walking towards the garage door. Where's this story going? Oh, yeah, his paranoia. What did the neighbor see in his eyes? What is the neighbor thinking? What did he say? He looks down to verify that he is clothed. Yes, he is, but sweatpants aren't needed in sunny Florida he checks weather underground on his phone, 80-degree afternoon. Another whatever. He can get away with it, he thinks. And now his brain has stopped working. He looks at his Kathy Acker book beside it and wonders if he should read that. But on second thought, he thinks not. Surprise, he's not as discombobulated as he would lead one to believe. Break time. 3:59 p.m. He skims the last part of his story and realizes that the checking to see if he is clothed portion of the neighbor paragraph may need to be edited. But does he want these words and thoughts to be edited, curated, and enshrined in a time capsule? No editing. Raw, real, unleashed. That's the only way. You got to feel it, then you can pound it out. Hit them keys, young man. 4:03 p.m. Still thirsty. Maybe get a few more Jelly Bellies. Sip some H2O. Banana, lemon, lime, berry cherry, motivated to unmotivated, back and forth, licorice, sip some water, great, done. 4:10 p.m. to question marks. Free time. 5:15 p.m. to the end. He's a bit tired, still thirsty. Sweets keep him satiated. Thanks for correcting the spelling of satiated. Is that the correct use of that word? Still not back to pre-trip state. But when he goes back to the beginning of the story and starts reading, he remembers the accident just as the trip was beginning. Here's what happened. Here's the big climax for the accident that he teased everyone with at the opening of the story. So, with time of the essence, and after the grocery store this morning, as he was getting rations ready for his trip, i.e. making homemade trail mix, he picked up a pair of scissors to open the end of an M&M bag. When he cut the bag open, the M&M spilled all over the counter and the floor. An unexpected event 15 minutes after he had consumed the gummy. The M&Ms were coated in pastel spring colors. There were broken chips and teeny tiny bits of spring M&Ms everywhere. 8 of the 10 ounces in the bag were all over the place. And so, racing against the clock and knowing that his engine was warming up, he frantically collected all of the M&Ms. Then he swept the floor, collecting all of the little M&M chip pieces in a dustpan, and then putting them in the trash. The setback was only a few minutes, and then he was continuing his trip. It was already happening, with or without him at this point. He just wasn't sure what or when other things might happen. Parenthetical. This paragraph may have been written at a different point in time. Other than the M&M debacle, everything was going according to plan. He had taken the full dose of the Delta 9 sativa gummy. 6:08 p.m. He had just finished eating his supper, microwaved a leftover lasagna with salad, then dessert of 4 Thin Mint cookies and a chocolate milk. He was happy. His wife had skipped supper and was sitting a few feet away on the long couch. He looked at her, and she asked, "Why are your eyes so droopy?" He was just getting ready to tell her, but now it felt like he was at confession. End of story. The next morning, clear-headed, about 8 a.m., a brief summary of yesterday's trip. Appetite, most definitely increased with cravings, sweet, sours, sour pickles, extremes on the taste chart. At 10 p.m. was still craving and fantasizing about sour pickles. Ate half of the jar of pickles throughout the trip, and who knows how many Jelly Bellies and Skittles and Werther candies. Mental state. Extreme forgetfulness and confusion, consistent with the previous 2 trips of half a dose, i.e. gummy cut in half, but more so with the full dose, i.e. whole gummy. Hours and hours of question marks. He's not even sure how to describe it. Basically, nothing productive was really accomplished, unless you count trying to write a story out of the experience. And as for relaxation, that was on and off and on and off. Creativity. Well, if writing a sloppy, dull travelogue story counts as creative, then the goal was accomplished. But he was expecting so much more, like spaceship stories, true transgressive tales, interactive games with ChatGPT stories. In other words, he wanted to create things that he had never done before. Conclusion. After these 3 trips, he hopes that he never, ever develops dementia. He thinks that these experiences have given him a taste of that condition of life. He does feel good that he's already past the early onset dementia period in his life. At least he thinks he's past it. Next step. Take a Delta 9 indica trip. His counselor, Snow, said that indica would put him in the couch. We'll see what happens. Obviously, there will be no expectations of creativity in that state, but the relaxation goal may be fully realized. Who knows? So stand by. We'll be boarding soon. And thank you for flying with Delta.
Keith, I really enjoyed that. And I enjoyed it for a couple of reasons. First of all, as you get at the end, like it completely subverts your expectations for this kind of trip report, right? Like there's nothing psychedelic about this story. It's so wonderfully wholesome and mundane, right? And it's wholesome and mundane, but it also does something that you should know I really enjoy in literature because I always talk about it at length, which is like it succeeds at capturing the human mind in motion, right? It succeeds at capturing all the like confusion and noise and uncertainty of daily life and of daily thought, which is like often there's this real desire in fiction to sand off those corners, right? To try to make a single coherent narrative out of a fundamentally incoherent life. And I love it when authors resist that trend. And it's something that like I try to do, I think, with mixed results in my own writing, that sense of like capturing the thoughts as they come, capturing the like disorganized and disjointed nature of like the experience of human consciousness. And I think you do that in a way that like fulfills the promise of the concept here, right? But that does it in a way that you wouldn't have expected going in. And as usual with your writing, it's consistently very funny. And I think that this style is actually a really good fit for your writing because your writing is always full of these these little like funny moments of like realization and anxiety anyway. So it's like it feels like a perfect match for this kind of a story, this kind of very reflective story that like explores like the mundane moments of day-to-day life. Anyway, Keith, it's a good one. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Wayne. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
And Rudy, I didn't see anyone put in the chat that they wanted to read. Did you?
I think Sam might want to read. Sam sent a message to.
Oh, to
I'm not sure. Sam.
To the Twitter account.
Yeah.
Sam, did you want to read? You made it just in time if you did. Maybe he's having oh, one sec, hang on. Okay. So yeah, when we'll hear Sam, and then I guess we'll wrap it up after Sam then. I'm never sure what to say during these like awkward silences in the middle of a reading. Rudy, what's your favorite episode of Scared Straight, since you're using the Scared Straight avatar?
Oh, I think my favorite one is this one where Hustle Man and this guy threaten the kids, and he's like either this one or the Kool-Aid one. I think this one actually probably takes it because he's like the part where he asks him to comb his fucking chest hair and shit is just so surreal and insane. Just so good.
Adam, I can't quote Mrs. Doubtfire because I've only seen it like once, maybe twice, probably twice in my life. Rudy, you can quote Mrs. Doubtfire though. Rudy, what's your favorite quote from Mrs. Doubtfire?
After you box them, you ship them. Probably my favorite Mrs. Doubtfire.
So after you box them,
you ship them.
What? Sam, I hope you. Sam, where are you, man? You got bail us out here. Oh, there you are.
Oh, I hear something.
You're very quiet. So Rudy, I'm confused though. After you box them,
is that better?
Oh yeah, perfect.
Give me 1 more minute.
You ship them.
What?
Lots of luck, smart ass.
Lots of luck. I was waiting for Adam to say that. That was like the best scene ever. Fucking, I like it. There were so many classic scenes in that movie. Like the part where he's with his gay brother and he's like
The only line I remember from that movie, and they couldn't put it in a movie today, is when he's doing all the voices for the want ad when she's out the want ad and he calls and he's like, "Oh, I don't work with the boys because I used to be
I
one."
don't work with females because I used to be one.
Yeah, I was curious. Do the kids pretty well behaved, or they need like a few like slams now and then?
Yeah. Oh, so good, so fucking good.
Watch it. We're going to get like taken down for copyright infringement or something.
Robin Williams' ghost will protect us.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm almost ready. I only have a part of a piece, but
Cool.
give me 1 second.
Sure.
My Zoom keeps bugging out. Okay, there we go. All right, you guys ready?
We're ready.
Ready.
All right, this one's not that funny. It's trying to be scary, but 4 years ago, my instructor, Dr. Jacobus, gave me a small specimen to examine and write up. I assume he was doing what he ought to do, that he knew what the specimen was, a barely novel subspecies of bacteria, which he could easily categorize, but he'd often hand them to me, or to any other of us underlings, grads, so we could eventually take the helm, be given the scientific credibility to become professors, and eventually train others to become professors too. Dr. Jacobus was tenured and not a competitive man. But that specimen, pressed gently between 2 panes of oiled glass, seemed to have written my name in a little protein sludge trail on the side. I stared for an hour. God doesn't write the world in straight lines, which is another way of saying God doesn't write in our language, which is to say I kept this to myself. Without going into too much detail, as going too far would imperil my career, this little specimen and I became interspecies pen pals. If I said hello, it would, in a word, sludge, hi. If I asked happy or sad, it would politely respond, never better. The specimen had a knack for etiquette, and we got along famously, or would have, though I kept my questions terse to account for the space it had available for an answer. It wasn't until Christmas that I realized I missed it. The lab was closed for winter break. I took special care to make sure it was in an environment conducive to its flourishing. My mom would ask me how grad school was going. As I thought of the specimen, I'd stutter and speak some genetics jargon to avoid further inquiry. I'd say I liked my coworkers and that my job was going great, and she would say, good, I love you. But all my thoughts were on the specimen. The specimen was exactly as I'd left it when I returned, not even a micrometer bigger. I measured it, but I was glad. We talked in our manner. We had conversations over the course of the semesters I taught. It even provided insight regarding developmental biology via its own inner workings, though again, over weeks, mostly using distributive singular terms that it inexplicably understood. I took it from the lab at the end of my degree. God never builds in straight lines, neither does history. Look at the reaction to Darwin. I began to speak more openly to the specimen. This is the last paragraph. Diatribing about my week's events, my ambitions, my hopes, sober and drunk. The specimen heard it all. It sludged. Don't worry so much, and you're overthinking it, bud, more than once. And every day I shut the drawer on it, placing it face down as my phone before I fell asleep. The specimen never held it against me. I assumed it needed rest, though organisms simple as that do not have anything analogous to a melatonin cycle. That's the end.
Sam, this is a great start here. I really dig the concept here a lot because I dig the concept and I dig the execution. First of all, I really love your use of the word sludge as a verb. That just perfectly like captures what's going on here. But I love the psychology of your narrator and the relationship with the microorganism and the inferences
Specimen.
he draws, right? Because you're doing something fun, really cool here in the discrepancy between what he says he's getting from this relationship and what we see him get from it. Like, you only have a few moments where we actually see what the microorganism is telling him, right? And what it's telling him, I suppose, passes as intelligence, right? But it's these like banal, like truisms and simple kind of like phrases. And the fact that seems to be drawing so much from that and projecting so much on that. And I mean, yes, it would be assuming he's not completely like mad, it would be remarkable for a microorganism to write anything, right? But like the way that microorganism is like communicating, like in these like in like these like banal reassuring phrases and like fortune cookie speak and stuff is so good contrasted with like the psychology of the narrator and like the wisdom he thinks he's drawing from it. I don't know. I really dig that. You really like subtly get at this guy's like I
Thanks.
don't know, detachment from reality.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was cool. I like the part where the specimen is like basically, hey, don't worry so much, bud.
That was my favorite moment too. Because
I was
it's like,
very stressed when I wrote that.
you know what it is? It's like the relationship with a therapist. A therapist who
Yeah.
tells you just like gentle, reassuring things in lieu of offering you insight about your problems. Anyway, Sam, good stuff. Good stuff. And I
Thank
think we're gonna call it there then. As usual, I'm gonna leave the Zoom meeting open so people can hang out. This has been Misery Loves Company. We do this every fucking week, 5 p.m. Eastern time. No, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific. Anyone's welcome to come and share their work. Anyone is welcome to come and just hang out. We tweet out the link right before we begin from our Twitter account at Misery Tourism. And yeah, I'm stumbling over my words, so I think I'm going to end it there. Lots of great shit read tonight. Thank you, guys. Thank you to everyone who read, and thank you to everyone who frequents these things. All right. Thanks, guys. That's it. Fuck it.